day 94 out of 100. And there's just so much going on, I feel, and lots and lots and lots of clarity and realization for myself about relationships. And what is really, really, really interesting about the way I live and operate is that I first, when I write my articles, a lot of that information is received, and then a lot of it, so basically I receive the understanding of concepts that I'm here to talk about before I actually live them. Now it's like that. In the beginning, because I wasn't open to receive the information, it was more of like I was experiencing interesting things in my body when I started paying attention, and that led me to understand, this is where love comes from. Oh, when I do this feels like love as well. So a lot of what I'm doing is intuitive because I'm receiving it. And thank you. Here's I have a glass of wine. And a lot of it is receiving, and a lot of it is embodied knowing. So a lot of what I've been talking about relationships lately is we talk a lot about all the expectations, and but we don't realize to what extent it's actually complicating our relationships, these expectations. There is also a lot of assumption. We keep on judging people based on how we see the world. We forget that everyone wears their own different goggles. Nobody sees the world like we do. And I've used that in many examples. I have twins. They were born at the same time, to the same parents, to the same family. They are wearing different goggles, and their relationship with me and the world and each other and everyone else is very, very different. So imagine somebody who didn't have the same experience as you, they won't think like you. Especially if there are people from like different generations and different cultures, they won't think like you. Very few people think like you, or like me for that matter. So these expectations that you think or that assumption that you think you know what the other person is thinking, is what gets us into so much, I was gonna say trouble, not trouble, just unhappiness in our relationships. So I've been having, as always, incredible conversations with people, and it's just reinforcing a lot of what I already knew and have experienced, but this is just really, really deepening the knowing that I already had, and deepening the understanding that I already had, because I'm much more aware. I used to talk about like romantic relationships and things that are happening within a family, but what I'm now doing more and more is I'm realizing that everything is a relationship. And I've said that before. With money, I'm in a relationship. With my business, I'm in a relationship. With myself, I'm in a relationship. With all the other people with whom I'm communicating, we're in a relationship all the time. So the same expectations that destroy our romantic relationships, but in our other relationships, we are operating in life from a bunch of assumptions and expectations that have nothing to do with reality. We don't even have the awareness that other people are not like us. That we can be in love with someone, we can love someone, and still allow that they're a very different person than who we are. because that expectations that because we are in love, that means you're just like me, is false. It creates all kinds of suffering for us, first of all, because then we see, oh, they're not like me, and then we're like upset, or we start blaming that other person for not being the way we've expected them to be. We're all different, unique, separate, sovereign. I know there is all this talk about like we're the one and we're all one. Yes, out there, you know, we're all one out there in the grand scheme of things. Yes, I am made of the same, you know, substance as stars and trees and sea and sun. But here on this planet, in this three-dimensional incarnation, in this body, we're not one. We're one in spirit, but we're separate and sovereign in body and thoughts and desires and wishes. And that's really, really important to understand. Every person that you're interacting with has their own set of givens, wounds, expectations, the ways they think about the world, values, the way they think about you. Everything is very, very different. As many mothers know, our children are very, very different from us, and they're our children. So yeah, so I mean, there's just, anyway, we have 6 or 7 planets in retrograde these days, which means a lot of revisiting, going in depth, really going into our inner world, really sitting with it and understanding and you know, finding the nuggets of wisdom. I'm just very, very, you know, for me, this week was very, very interesting also in just the way I've been, you know, I have many, many clarity calls now for my program, and just the way people respect themselves and their time and my time and just each other. It's just been incredible, really, really interesting. And of course, I've gone through this before, and every time it's a new kind of learning. So yeah, I'm very curious whether you are going through interesting conversations in your relationships. Let me know how it's all going for you, and I'll see you tomorrow. And anyway, yes, I'll see you tomorrow, but for me now it's I think around 8 p.m. and my husband just brought me a glass of wine. I don't know what we're celebrating, but I think I'm going to be celebrating. All right, everyone, see you tomorrow.